What's going on, guys? Seth here doing a TLG Reacts for Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, the final preview, and a Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 official extended multiplayer gameplay trailer. We got two videos we're going to watch in this TLG Reacts, and I'm really excited to watch these. I've been holding on to them for a little bit and making sure I don't watch them. I want to go in fresh, not knowing anything. But yeah, this is one of my most hyped games of this year. Still not out. It's coming out soon, and I can't wait to play it. I'm already hyped for it, but yeah, I want to know more about it because I've actually not been following it too closely because I already know I want to play it. It's being made by Saber Interactive, who has a great pedigree in making really fun games. One thing I've noticed with this game and one of the prior games, World War Z, is there's a lot of enemies on screen at once, and it's something they do pretty well. And for anybody wondering, I do really enjoy some of the Warhammer games. They're pretty hit or miss, you guys know if you know, but I don't play the actual tabletop game, so I'm not going to have like deep insight on that aspect of it, although the more I play the games, the more I'm interested in the original game, and so maybe someday I will become a fan of that. But I really like the games so far from what I've played. Really liked, of course, Vermintide. I liked Inquisitor Martyr. A lot of people didn't like that game. I liked it. There's some like, what is it, like Twisted Metal style game I played as well. That's pretty fun. So there's plenty of good games in the Warhammer universe. A lot of bad ones. This one definitely doesn't look bad at all, though. It looks very high quality. Probably the highest quality I've seen of any of the Warhammer games. And like I said before, Saber's making it. Trusted hands. I have all the faith in the world. It's going to be awesome. With that, let's jump into it and just check this out.
Warhammer 40K has spread so far and wide from its humble tabletop origins that I would almost consider the fantasy of being one of the Adeptus Astartes, a Space Marine, as being on par with being Batman or a Jedi Knight at this point.
Eviscerate this abomination!
Fair.
And Space Marine 2 brings me closer to that fantasy than maybe any previous game has. At its best, it's practically 40k Nirvana, mowing down disorienting numbers of Tyranids with a heavy bolter or cutting a path through them with a chainsword.
Fucking
At
gooey.
times, the controls can get a little clunky, especially on a controller, but I suppose some of that comes with being an 8-foot-tall juggernaut coated in ceramite.
I wish they would elaborate a little bit on what they mean by clunky.
I had access to the first little bit of the campaign, which has Clive Standen,
It's so high
aka
quality.
Wallow from Vikings, giving an inspired, gravelly performance as Captain Titus from the first game.
We will eradicate your kind from the
I
galaxy.
played the first game, but I never beat it.
Embroiled in some interesting drama with his new squad mates due to his checkered service record.
Maybe I should go back.
They ultimately set that aside, though, to do battle with the Tyranid hive fleet threatening the soaring Gothic spires of the Imperial world of Avarax.
The astropath relay is 4 miles.
It looks so good.
Expect heavy Tyranid presence.
What's immediately striking is how detailed and well animated everything on the ground is.
Okay.
From the humble Cadians, who will often kneel and talk in a whisper as the Emperor's angels approach, to the smallest gilded details on the architecture. I don't think I've ever had the feeling of standing on the ground in the Warhammer 40k universe to this level of satisfaction before.
I'm impressed with the visuals and everything that they're saying. I'm sure it's going to be fucking awesome for like Warhammer fans, like people who are super into this shit, to have something this high quality to experience. So it's pretty exciting.
Your punishment is dishonorable death.
The graphics are gorgeous, the chaotic soundscape is spot on,
I'm not going to be able to tell from this, but I hope so.
and no expense has been spared, filling every square inch with the kinds of small touches that delighted me as a
I
longtime
love
fan
the
of this
scale.
franchise.
Everything's just so fucking huge. Very cool.
As far as nailing the experience of playing as one of the Emperor's finest, Space Marine 2 generally does a respectable job there as well. Titus and his buddy's Primaris armor is rendered in gleaming fidelity with lots of moving parts, managing to feel imposing and maneuverable at the same time.
Heresy and corruption.
True, looks like it.
Tyranids seek to consume that as well.
I do love all the
Anytime I
moving
got to
pieces
remove
too.
an obstacle through pure super strength was a highlight.
This is bad enough.
Boy,
And most of the guns
Chris
feel
Redfield on
great
that.
to use, from the classic bolter to a plasma gun that makes enemy armor seem like a joke.
Sick.
I wasn't totally sold on the melee stuff, unfortunately. Carving through gaunts with a chainsword is just as exhilarating as it should be, but Space Marine 2 has also tried to implement a Sekiro-esque system of telegraphed dodges and parries to counter enemy special attacks, and I'm not quite sure if it works here. Maybe 6 hours just wasn't long enough to get the feel for it yet, but I got the sense that it really slowed close combat down with canned animations, breaking up the flow a bit too much.
I will have to find out myself.
Likewise with the Doom 2016 style finishers, though they are gloriously brutal in their spectacle.
Yeah.
You really
those are
can't
sick.
argue with how awe-inspiring it is to see a Space Marine rip a Tyranid warrior's head clean off and discard it like trash.
Is it
Maybe they're
only
just a bit too long, or they mess with the camera too much, but they feel like breaks in the action rather than part of it.
okay? I'm wondering if there's any benefit other than just
The
having
main enemies in the missions I
visual.
played were primarily Tyranids, though it seems like the forces of chaos are definitely up to something behind the scenes, as they often are.
Damn.
And the variety of chitinous baddies is pretty impressive, from hordes of regular gaunts who mainly serve to show off your godlike power, to slippery lictors who require a bit more finesse to take down. These guys, likewise, have never looked better in a video game. With some of the
True.
more complex model updates from the recent tabletop refresh of the faction shown off in all their creepy splendor.
I love it. It
The
seems
mode
a
I
decent
spent the
variety of
most
enemy
time with,
types.
though, is the new 3-player co-op, which seems to
Fuck
be where
yeah.
the meat of Space Marine 2 lies. There are tons of perks and weapon upgrades to unlock, and much to my delight, as someone who rolls their eyes at playing boring Ultramarines, character customization includes the ability to unlock armor
See,
colors and liveries
talking
from
about?
dozens of chapters, including both my beloved Space Wolves and some fairly obscure ones. On top of this, you have 6 different classes to choose from, each of which has at least 3 primary weapons to level up, allowing
Okay.
for a huge amount of build diversity.
Fuck yeah. For anybody, shout out. For anybody who didn't play World War Z, it's still awesome. But if you haven't played it, you should play it. Because there's a shitload of classes. They all have their own skill trees. There's all sorts of upgrades, build diversity. It's a fucking full-ass game. And it's really fun. So, like I kind of said in my intro, I have faith this game will have, plenty to it. Because they've proven themselves before. So, yeah.
I probably had the most fun with the standard tactical marine. I know. Right after I said Ultramarines are boring. The Assault Marine can be exciting too, but as I never
can't tell if
fully
they're
got comfortable with the melee
complaining
combat,
about
and
things
I
or
also
not.
found the jump pack to be really kind of fiddly and inconsistent. It ended up being the build I wish I was good at, but never quite got there. The Heavy Marine is also great fun when you can fire hose away with a heavy
That
bolter and watch an entire
gun looks
swarm
sick.
evaporate. But they don't have much to do when they're out of ammo, which isn't as big a problem for the other classes.
Did they not have? Okay, let's say, did they not have melee?
I feel like some levels could use a bit of rebalancing in terms of ammo drops, at least if you have a heavy on the squad.
Game too hard
it can
for
be
you?
a long time between resupplies.
A fine weapon.
Since I was playing on a pre-release build, I was often paired with bots, and they're not really very good, even on the lowest difficulty. The aforementioned Heavy Marine just isn't that viable because you can't count on your AI teammates to keep strong melee enemies off of you. But when I did match with other humans, I was having a great time. So I imagine this issue will be resolved when the servers are open to everyone. The more linear levels and somewhat clunkier movement is definitely an adjustment when I've played hundreds of hours of Helldivers 2 already this year, but there's no mistaking that I could definitely see myself spending an obsessive amount of time unlocking all the cool
different
visual and
styles of
mechanical
shooters.
kit for my favorite chapters and classes. Space Marine 2 has a real shot at being the quintessential third-person action game set in the 40K universe. It's exactly what it says on the cargo canister. You get to be an enormous, super strong, nearly invincible battering ram of post-human destruction, slinging retribution at uncountable hordes of Xenos across beautiful, detailed battle spaces that bring this universe to life in a way it never really has been before.
That's all I
Ideally
want.
with a couple friends. You'll be able to check it out for
I'll
yourself
definitely
on
be,
September 9th.
playing
For
with
more
people.
Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2, check out the official gameplay overview trailer as well as the behind the scenes trailer. And for everything else in the world of video games,
Not to try to overly defend a game I haven't played yet, but when he's talking about the ammo part, I feel like, having played World War Z, that there's either going to be a class that has some kind of perk that will either be able to give ammo or extend the amount of ammo you can have on you, or I don't know, maybe at the fault of the bots or whatever, their experience wasn't I don't know, planned very well. I don't know. I feel like it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But yeah, overall, that video just got me hyped more. More information than I really needed, but that's fine. Sounds awesome. Can't wait to play it. Looks fantastic graphically. Even like the design, the landscapes, the visuals, the animations, everything looks like really good, like way better than I was expecting, especially from Saber. But it's been a while since they've put out a game, and mostly I'm just like excited to see the multiplayer because I'm going to be playing this game multiplayer. But yeah, I'm curious about how finishers are going to work, if it's just to have that animation of like murdering the shit out of something, or if you actually are going to get something, or maybe like there'll be some kind of weapon or perk or something like that will give you something for doing it. I'm curious about that. So yeah, overall, really impressed, really stoked. And yeah, let's move on to the next video. Next video is official extended multiplayer gameplay trailer showcasing multiplayer. I believe this will show co-op and the versus, which is awesome that they're going to have versus. Again, World War Z had co-op, it had a versus mode. The versus mode is actually pretty fun. And so really not surprised with how much they're packing into this game, but I definitely welcome it, and I will definitely try out both modes. Let's check this out.
Your mission is to use the stored promethium in the refinery to destroy the enemy swarm. Trigger detonation only when the main swarm has entered the blast zone. Emperor, preserve us all.
I am honored to have Lord
The hammer
Titus command our
sick.
unit. He has clearly served long and with distinction.
I'm definitely
There is sure to
interested
be
in
an ambush.
playing this class with the booster on their back and that heavy gunner guy, because that would fucking sick too. Oh yeah, dude. That looks cool too. Sword and board. Rifle, I'm not going to be too interested in. Some kind of like a long range thing. That's not what I'm playing this game for. I'll try it out, but that's not the class I'm looking to play. I want to be up close.
Butcher this one! Get that carnifex with everything we have!
seems like this enemy is doing a pretty good job at switching aggro enough that it's not as predictable. I'm sure if you played enough, you'll know what it's going to do, but sometimes you can really like game the aggro on something, especially if you have like 3 people fighting it, but it seems like it's pretty active on attacking everybody pretty quickly.
We broke the tyranny's disgusting champion!
Very God of War. Love it.
We demolished that Carnifex, brothers.
Sure did.
Take heart. The flame.
I'm so stoked you're going to be able to customize your characters, like, visually.
Time to teach them fear.
Damn, me first. I want to press the button.
There is an observation platform overlooking the Prometheum fields.
I remember seeing stuff like this in World War Z.
Dig in.
There's a bunch of enemies in the background running around.
Ah! Ha ha ha! Good. They come. I wondered how I might
Ford
pass the
XL.
time.
Basically World War Z 2, except for your giant
Swarm is climbing.
tank men.
Boots of that bastard. You have trespassed on this Imperial domain too long! Perimeter breach, ready for close combat.
I just now realized that they're like covered in blood. It's a nice detail.
Be ready for my march.
Watch out back!
I'm gonna play the shit out of this game.
Not a target! We will miss our window if we do not hurry!
It's an interesting dynamic too, because in games like this, typically you're like getting a position, working together, which you'll probably do here, but you feel a lot more like independent in this game, in your team, because you're just this big hulking thing that can hold his own. Whereas in like other horde games, I won't just say World War Z, but like, you know, Left 4 Dead or something, it's more about like survival, and this is just like slaughter the enemy. Very on brand.
Excellent work. Move to extract.
Love that sword. Okay, this I'm really interested in. I know it's like 3v3 modes or something. 4v4? Oh, maybe 4v4. I thought I had read it was 3v3 and like obviously we're seeing otherwise, but maybe I'm thinking like 3 game modes or something. I hope this shit's fun and not just like slapped on.
Engage on our terms only. We lost one.
How squishy are you? Where's his health now? That guy was fucked up.
Refilling rounds.
Seems like he died really quick. I'm trying to gauge the TTK because normally I like a faster TTK, but at the same time, like these guys are like gigantic, so I'm not sure what to expect here. He died quick.
Established dominance.
That was cool. This looks pretty fun. It's got kind of a different pace to a lot of the competitive things out there right now too, so hopefully it'll feel good, so it'll have some longevity to it if you're playing it.
Traitor killed him.
Definitely welcome new competitive shooter experiences right now, since most of them are pretty samey. All right. And then I wonder if they're going to do progression separately in this mode, like in World War Z. That would make sense. September 9th. Hell yeah, dude. I am fucking pumped. Yeah, overall, from both videos, like I said before, graphics are great. The design's awesome. Enemies look like they're fun to fight. Characters look like they're fun to play. In the first video, they made it sound like... I didn't know if they were complaining or not about things, but they sound like it was fucking like clunky and hard to play, and certain things didn't work right. They also are from IGN, so I don't know how proficient they are at playing games, so I'll find that out once I play it. But it looks like it flows really well and plays really well. They do move not really. I mean, like they move kind of slow, but not really. But you kind of expect it. They're in huge suits of armor. But yeah, the campaign looks awesome. Way more like AAA and like fleshed out and cinematic than really I was expecting. Being able to play that with 3 people is fucking awesome. Like one other person would be dope, but like having 2 of your friends with you, that's gonna be a lot of fun. And then the multiplayer, the versus, also looks fun, which is nice. I was kind of worried that, you know, they might be like, well, let's just throw that on there and see if people play it a little bit and move on with their lives. But it looks like it's pretty robust. Hopefully there'll be plenty of stuff to work towards and unlock when you play it, and hopefully they support it. But I guess you can kind of gauge if it's worth supporting if people are playing it or not. But I'm sure they got a plan. I don't know what the roadmap is going to look like for this game, but with all the multiplayer components to the game and progression, there's a lot of room to grow here, and they did that with World War Z. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do it here. But yeah, overall, really excited. This definitely up to my hype level, and I can't wait to play it. It's coming out soon, and I will definitely be picking it up day one. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2? Are you guys excited? Not excited? If you're not excited, why aren't you excited? If you are excited, did you play the prior game? Are you going into this one as your first one? Are you a fan of Warhammer in general? Have you played the other Warhammer games? And what looked most exciting to you in this gameplay? Are you interested in the versus component? And yeah, what are you hoping for when it comes to this game? Let me know in the comments. I've been Seth. That's going to do it for this TLG React. Stay tuned. I'm going to try and put out more short-form content. I miss doing it on here, so look forward to that. We also have a taste cast coming up soon. We will also be reacting to all of the Monster Hunter weapon previews that are still coming out. When they're all out, we're going to do one big video on it. So if you're interested in Monster Hunter Wilds, stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for a bunch of shit. And I've been Seth. Until the next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.